Hi, Eugene Silberstein here from the ESCO Institute, and thanks for watching this installment of our 10 question series. With me here today are three Board of Directors members from Women in HVACR. We have Laurelyn Arriaga, Ruth King, and Lori Tschohl. Thanks for joining us today. And before we hop into the questions, would you like to take a little bit of time just to introduce yourselves? Ruth?
I'll start. My name is Ruth King. I've been in this industry since 1987, and my goal is to help contractors grow profitably, build wealth, and give back. I started Women in HVACR in 2002 when there were really no women in the industry, and we were tired of it. And that's why we started the organization, and it's grown phenomenally well. We have a phenomenal board now who continues to grow, and we continue to get more and more members into the organization. So that's a little bit about me. Lori, you want to take it?
Sure. Thanks, Ruth and Eugene. We appreciate the opportunity. Lori Tschohl. I am a 100% woman-owned HVAC commercial gas piping contract up here in the state of Washington, and I'm newer into the industry. I've had a kind of a unique journey of being a McDonald's franchisee to Pandora jewelry stores, and now I have landed in the best industry ever, and I am so excited. Being that essential worker has made it all worthwhile. So here I am, and can't wait to talk to you about this industry. I love it.
Awesome. Laurelyn?
Yes, thank you, Eugene. And thank you for having us. My name is Tschohl and Arriaga, and I have worked in the industry for about 7 years now through manufacturing and distribution. I am so happy to be here and happy that you have us on today, Eugene. I'm so blessed to be here with Ruth and Lori, just titans of the industry. So I just am so humbled to be here today. Thank you.
Awesome. So being that you were the last to introduce yourself, why don't we start the ball rolling with you, Lauren? So why do you feel that women should consider careers in the HVACR industry?
Yeah, that's a great question, Eugene. I think one of the big things, going through COVID this, in 2021 was that HVAC was deemed an essential business. And that almost is like saying you are important. And that is a great feeling. And so being a part of an industry that is incredibly important, we're always going to be here. And this industry is so stable. And I have worked in other industries that haven't been as stable. And it's fantastic to not have to worry about, all of the things that come with the instability. So I think this is a fantastic industry. It feels like family when you're here. It's just a wonderful industry to be in.
And Laurelyn, you just mentioned, we're deemed essential. The Bureau of Labor Statistics tracks 700 occupations. And when COVID hit, 17 of them were deemed essential, and HVAC was one of them. So yeah, we definitely have a good thing going. We are a really important industry, but thanks for that. And we often hear that the building trades are only for men. So what are the best things to say to someone when they express that sentiment? Lori, what do you think? I mean, you're a contractor. I mean, when you hear that, what is the person, what are you supposed to say when somebody says that?
So there's a lot of answers, and some of them I can't say on this podcast. but what I normally say is, have you tried working with women? And I need to dig a little bit deeper with them, because I look at there are unlimited opportunities. We have a workforce. Women make up, 82% of the financial decisions. Whenever I send women, my comfort advisor, who is a female, she goes out, she closes the deal. And I think it's really, people don't look at women in this industry. When women show up, they say, oh, is someone else coming with you? Once they see how qualified these women are, they love working with women. And I think we have higher closing rates. We're 100% women owned, and we have quite a few women that work for us. Man, these ladies get the job done.
Awesome. Awesome.
And
So,
not only that, once women see from a residential perspective, once women get over the shock of a woman coming into their home, they don't want guys back. They will wait for women to come back.
Yeah.
That has been my experience with women, and who were working for the clients that I work with.
awesome. So Ruth, so why don't more women consider career opportunities in the HVAC industry?
Most of the time, they don't know about them. They've never been presented to women. And that's an issue that we're trying to get talking to guidance counselors and putting things online and letting women really know that they can do this, number one. Number two, that it's something that they will enjoy because most women like helping other women. And it's something that they can have a great career in and make a reasonable, if not a lot of money in it to take care of their families.
Awesome. So
I think also too, if I could,
yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that sometimes women can be concerned that there's a barrier there. And what I mean by that is that it can be difficult at times to make sure that their voice is heard, with it being a male-dominated industry. And that tightrope that we walk when we go into conference rooms or sales meetings can be that, you're passionate and you're assertive and you want to speak how you feel, but that's not your gender norm role. And if I say these things, then maybe I'll come off as, the horrible word, the B word. But you want to make sure that your voice is heard, and like, how do I say that and not come off as such? And so that, I feel like sometimes that fine line is one of the things that keeps women from working in industries that are male dominated.
So you're saying that women seem to have to push harder to attain the same status in an industry that,
It can. I think it just depends. I think it depends on a whole bunch of different things. I don't think that that's every day, all day, but I think that it can be something that women struggle with when thinking about what industry that they want to come into.
So
I got in this industry in 1987 and there were no women. And I'd walk in and they'd go, sit back, like, what do you know? What do you know? And finally, I just said, I'm done with this. I got my license and they couldn't get their licenses. So that took it once the reputation started. So a lot of women in the beginning, I think, are nervous about, walking in. But once they get over it, it's a fun industry. You're well appreciated and more women should be in it.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%, Ruth. And I think that, like, to your point, when you go through that time of, just not knowing, and you figure out how to overcome that. I think going through that one is when you change the most and when you grow the most. Mm-hmm. But then you, like, that ability to overcome, once you get to that point, makes you unstoppable. And that is really, really cool. You just got to be persistent. And once you get through it, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
We could probably go on this forever.
Yeah.
But,
this one we could.
Yeah, one of my clients in the state of Texas, they do skills training. And number one and number two in the state were hired not that many years ago, by the contractor I was working with at the time. Number two was a really, really good looking 18-year-old. And I don't want to be sexist or anything about it. The first thing that when she went to their homes, the women were shocked, number one, that it was a woman. And she'd say, just follow me around. And the women would follow her around. Now, they're not going to follow guys around, but women will follow women around. They asked all their questions. They got all their questions answered. And 99% of the people called the office and said, I never want a guy back in here. There was that 1% that, were guys or whatever, says, I don't want her back, not because she couldn't do her job, but because she was a woman. Deal with the 1%. The 99% love you.
You know what? Let me just throw this out there, because I had, when I directed my HVAC program in New York, I had a female student and she joined the program, and I sat down with every new student, and why HVAC, why this industry. And when I spoke with her, her story was really interesting because her brother owns a pizzeria restaurant in New York, and the refrigeration would go down, the air conditioning would go down, and she would see these contractors come in and sock them with these, really big bills to repair their equipment. And she said, wow, we can do this ourselves. And she went to school to learn air conditioning and refrigeration, not necessarily to get a job. She was working in the restaurant industry. She loved the industry so much. She got a job in New York City. She's now working for a very, very large contractor in the city, and she is one of their top techs. She is the go-to person. She's the person that the other techs call when they have a problem. And I mean, she is just absolutely amazing. And pretty much, I won't say everyone, but the vast majority of women who've gone through my programs who have, ultimately become very successful and respected in the industry. So on that, Laurelyn, I'm going to circle back with you. What opportunities are available to women who are considering a career in HVAC?
I think that's a great question, Eugene. I think the sky's the limit, honestly. I mean, if you want to go in the field, we'd love to have you in the field. And if you want to go into sales, or you want to be the marketing piece, or you want to be in the office, then you can. If you want to be a sales rep, fantastic. If you want to work, as a director of business development for a financing company, you can. It's all here. Whatever you want to do, the sky's the limit. We want you.
Yeah, remember, you can own your business too.
That's right. Absolutely, 100%.
So when I get questions all the time, like, what barriers are you up against X, Y, and Z? A lot of times I come back and say, well, I own the company, so I can very much control a lot of the narrative, whether I want to work with individuals on the distribution side. If they are not treating me at the same level they're treating what I call some of the big boys, I can certainly do some other things there. So when you own your own company, there's a little bit of a difference. But to Laurelyn's point, it is so unbelievable the amount of jobs, and it's like finding out what folks are interested in, what their lifelong goals are, what we can do to help them, because this industry can take them anywhere they want to go. So yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Agreed.
Absolutely. I agree. And it's so funny, Eugene, because I told myself, remember to say business owners, because I've got 2 business owners on here, and we do, like, there's nothing else more special than having women business owners in the industry. And I mean, I've got 2 on here. You go, Lori. That's right. You tell those distributors, hey, what's up?
So Lori, let me ask you this then, because you're a contractor, so I'm assuming that you hire some of your technicians from tech schools. And what in your opinion can vocational schools do to encourage women to join their HVAC programs?
So for me, that's a little bit of a challenge. Where I'm located, our vocational schools are so far away. And so I work on the board of the Builders Association in my local area. Had a meeting last night, phenomenal news. Our little Chimacum High School in Chimacum, Washington, they're adding trades back into the program. We were leaping up and down thinking, this is awesome. So my first thought is, I want to meet with that gentleman that's running that trades program. How can I help supply him equipment? The builders, contractors, building supplies, we'll get them wood, we'll get them this. I'm like, no, let me get them an HVAC unit that they can start training and working with. So to get back to your question, vocational schools, I think it's more of a challenge for them to actually go out and help recruit. That's where Women in HVACR comes in. So we have an ambassadorship program, and we are working now to have an ambassador in every state. And with that, I think those ambassadors, they will be the ones that will help go out to the vocational schools. We have an amazing program that we can share with them, numbers, statistics, how, women perform in this industry. And I think a lot of that falls on us as part of the education, mentoring, networking as our organization to work with these folks. They don't necessarily reach out to us because it's amazing how many people that don't know about us. So I think we have a little onus. We need to reach out to them and let them understand what we can do to help them not only fill their programs, but get more women in the industry.
Awesome.
Yeah, I agree too, Lori. I think also what keeps any of us from going to our own kids' career day, like mine is coming up, but I've talked to a couple other people about this specifically because that is something that to your point, our ambassadorship program does cover. But just us as individuals, like what keeps us from doing that is a question for me. The people that I've talked to recently said that when they attended these events, no trades were there.
Yeah,
we have got to do better as an industry. We have got to do better.
Yeah, and just to tack on, I mean, at ASCO, I mean, we work with over 1,400 career and technical education programs across the country. And some programs have very robust student enrollments, and some schools are crying and hurting for enrollment. And I get to visit a lot of these schools, and I look at their recruitment brochures. And when I look at their brochures for HVAC, it's 21-year-old, clean-cut white males with no earrings, no piercings, no tattoos. And I can't say from experience, but if I'm a young woman and I'm looking to learn a trade or pick a course of study, and I see these brochures, and it's a bunch of young, clean-cut, 20-year-old white boys, I might think right away, oh, well, this isn't for me. And and I tell program directors, well, you're complaining you don't have enrollment, you don't have enough students, but you're only catering to roughly 50% of the population. And a few of the schools actually took it upon themselves to change their recruitment brochures. And I think you all said it. I mean, really, it's getting the word out. But so now, somebody goes to school, they get a job in the industry. Ruth, you started this organization, so I'm gonna ask you. So once a woman, and I hate to keep saying it. I mean, we're gearing toward women because it should be across genders. But what challenges do women specifically face once they do get into the industry?
Well, first of all, it's shock because homeowners and business owners do not expect a woman to knock on their door saying, I'm here to service your air conditioner, I'm here to take care of your air conditioning problems. So the first thing that has to happen is they have to overcome that shock if they're going to be in the field. All right. Once they get over that, it's like, and we've been able to deal with that by having them actually follow. I totally understand your surprise, Mrs. Jones. Would you like to follow me around? Would you like to come on the roof with me? And some people do, some people don't. I mean, I shamed a guy to go up on a roof with me. I know he had never been on that roof before. And he goes, you're not going up there. I said, I sure as hell am. And he goes, well, I guess I'm going up there too. And I know he'd never been on that roof. So he took the panels off and the coil was frozen. And I said, don't you think you need a service call? And he goes, yeah. So, I mean, a lot of times we just have to realize that we're going to be making people initially uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Once they get over that, and they really realize that, number one, we know what we're talking about. And then the comfort level comes, and then they don't want anybody else. I mean, I see that over and over again. And I think at some point in time, the shock will go away because there will be enough women in the industries that we're not even going to be talking about this anymore.
But let me ask you a question. So that's from the from the interaction between the technician and the customer, but how about between a female technician and coworkers?
They get tested more than the guys do. As a general rule, you need a thick skin. You absolutely do.
So what if somebody, I mean, most women that I know have thicker skin than men, but on that note, what if it turns out to be too much? Is there any information out there about, let's say, the percentage of women who enter the industry that don't stay, and do we know why they're leaving? You know, Laurelyn, you have anything on that?
So I can't speak to a percentage, and maybe the other two ladies can, but I have heard stories. And I think one of the things about women leaving the industry, and I think for myself, I probably need to do more research, but I've heard stories in not just women, but also men leaving the industry. And what I've heard is just that they were, or that I knew, is that they were dealt like a really bad hand. And so they already started off behind, and it was really hard for them to come from behind and to, you know, do well. And it's like, sometimes in those instances, I can totally appreciate, you know, wanting to be adaptable and maybe move into another industry, but you can also be adaptable and stay within the industry. And I think sometimes, and I'll keep saying this, but you've got to be persistent, because even when you're dealt that bad hand, you can still overcome. Like, we are so powerful beyond our own measure. We don't even know it. You know, and so I feel like just be persistent and keep at it. And that's why we have women in HVACR. We're here to collaborate with each other and lift each other up and empower and get through this together, because you're not in it alone. You're here with us, and, you know, we're you know, just a wonderful organization. We have so many tools in our toolbox. There have been so many women that have overcome so many different things. And, you know, it's just, you know, being a part of the organization. And I am so blessed, because I've had so much advice given to me by these wonderful women. And it's just be persistent, I think.
And Eugene, I'm going to jump a little bit back on your question on that. So I pulled the statistics, and it only shows the number of women, and I don't know how accurate it is, because if you go to the, you know, 2021, it shows HVAC women, it's only 1.5.
It's more than that.
Yeah, I know.
That's
And
where
that's the first thing I said, 1.5, but see, then they, you know, they break it out, plumbers, pipe fitters, 2.1, sheet metal workers. So I don't think it's accurate data, but I do know that we are looking for different age ranges. So I know as a business owner, when, and this is not discriminatory by any means, but when a older person, whether it's male, female, come in, we don't know that they're going to be doing ladders in crawl spaces, underneath houses and things like that. So it usually falls to that apprentice, that's that, you know, 20, 22-year-old. And then if you think about women, they're having babies, they're starting families. We have wonderful threads on some of the different social media channels where it talks about, I'm a HVAC technician and I'm, you know, having a baby, and, you know, this kind of stuff. So I think there's a percentage of that also, and it's hard work. And I'm finding in this, and I don't want to say, you know, a generation, but in this day and age, it's hard work. That's the bottom line. Service is a little bit easier than install. I go out on some of these jobs, I'm exhausted, and I can well imagine doing, these folks have to do it every day, day in and day out. So what we have to do as a business owner, can I work them 4 days a week? Can I work them different shifts? If they've had a later night, can I have them come in earlier? So I think there's responsibility across all lines, but I don't have anything that tells us specifically why they're leaving. But to Laurelyn's point and some of the things I'm noticing, I think that could be a good portion of it.
Awesome. Yeah, the reason I was asking was because if we know why they're leaving, then we could better address it. But to your point, at your most recent Women in HVACR event in St. Pete, there was somebody presenting, and I forget who it was, but she presented statistics, and that was, last year's event. And I think she said the percentage of women in the industry is between 5 and 6%.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully that's even low. But yeah, so Lori, so as a contractor, what can you do, or contractors in general, do to encourage women to get into the game?
So I recruit constantly. My best one is I go and have an oil change at the Valvoline, and I go, oh my gosh, look at all these women working here. And I start recruiting them right away. If they're mechanical enough to start working on my truck, they're mechanical to get into this. So a lot of it is, again, it's explaining and understanding. Yesterday, I recruited the cable guy at my house. Now, wasn't a female, but I don't care. I need folks. So it's really educating them and making sure that they understand. My warehouse manager, her degree, 4 years, Arizona State, top of the class. And next thing I know, she's in my warehouse at a different level. Now she's gone from all the equipment. Now she's into comfort advisor. Now she's watching her income just skyrocket because now she's out selling. And when she gets into somebody's home, I call her my secret weapon, because she closes that deal. So I think a lot of it is sharing stories, talking about women in the industry. And I specifically can talk to women about how I came into the industry. And I think is the encouragement, but I actively go out, talk to women all the time.
I love that. Lori, that does not surprise me about you. You're just going to recruit everybody. And you get a job in the HVAC industry, and you get a job in the HVAC industry. Come on.
Come on down.
The reason I'm asking about that is if we do our jobs correctly as HVAC people, our work is hidden. Our equipment is in the attics, it's in the basements, it's hidden in walls. If an air conditioning system is properly installed, serviced, and maintained, and sized and designed and engineered, you shouldn't feel temperature swings from one room to the other. You shouldn't feel drafts. You shouldn't hear it turn on. You shouldn't hear it turn off. So our industry, by its own structure, is hidden. So getting people into the industry is hard enough. And now you put this other blockade, this other hurdle to get women into a male-dominated industry, which is hidden. You ask people, oh, what brand of air conditioning system do you have? And they look at the wall and say, oh, Honeywell. And it's actually kind of, that's the reason we ask. But does, what resources does women in HVACR have that could help instructors, trainers, educators, contractors? What's available to them to help them recruit women into the industry? Do you have any? I saw your video. You had this great video, and and you mentioned your ambassador program. So I'm kind of beating the dead horse, I think, because I think we already sent some of the stuff out there. But for somebody who's not familiar with your organization, for the instructors and the contractors, what resources are there available to help get women into this industry? Why should boys have all the fun?
Well, I think also we have some, and we're looking at recruiting more so. We're talking to guidance counselors who are in the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, because I think that's where a lot of it starts. Because by the time they're in high school, they've forgotten about our industry and our trade. So you're right, the video that's on our website is phenomenal. It really and truly does tell the story of women getting into this industry. And I think, if we can get that out and more people watch it, that would be that much better. But those things, our ambassador program, and, we talk all the time about getting women in the industry. When we started this in 2002, I think we had like 10 members, if that. We now have over 600. Wow. So, we're looking at 20-year time span of, 650 more than we had, 20 years ago. And it's increasing exponentially because people are finally realizing that, hey, we're out here, you know, we can do this job. And I think it's an education process that will continue for a really long period of time. And doing things like this also helps make people aware of what we're doing in terms of getting women involved, you know. And the other thing that has to happen is that a lot of the old guard, and I know there's going to be some guys watching this who are going to say you're full of it, but there's a lot of old timers who still don't believe that women should be in this industry. They're getting fewer and more far between, because some of them even look at me, and I've been in here since 1987, like, what are you doing in this industry? It's like, go away, get out of here. You know, it's time for you to retire and let your kids take over, many of which who are women. And I think a lot of the fathers now are realizing that their daughters can take over their businesses. It's not only sons. And I've had many of the contractors that I work with, the daughters are taking over the business. It's not the sons. And I'm going, yes.
And Laurelyn can address mentorship, because I think that's a huge tool. And I know, Laurelyn, you've got lots of things to say about mentorship we provide.
Oh, it's such a passion of mine, Lori. Thank you. And there wasn't anybody better to answer that question than Ruth about what our organization can bring, because she's the founder, and that I think is amazing. And but I wanted to be sure to say that mentorship is a huge thing. I have been a mentor, I've been a mentee, and in just one 30-minute conversation with my mentor, I mean, I met new people, so I networked. I figured out that I needed to set goals for myself. It can't just be, I'm there to kick butt and like, that's it. Like, you have to know how you're going to accomplish that and then write those goals down. I figured out what the difference between a mentor and a cheerleader was, because there's a difference, and that you need them both. I think like learning those things and having a mentor is so important. And then also they help guide you and give you advice as you go through your career. But then having a mentee is so incredibly special. And I have just an amazing mentee right now. Like, she is going to crush it. And she is only in the industry 6 months, y'all. And I'm so proud of her and so proud of what she's accomplished. And to have that kind of experience, I think you got to do it. You got to do it because it's so impactful in both scenarios, whether you're a mentor or a mentee. And so that is what I have to say about mentorship. So if you're not doing that now currently, I would highly suggest, if you're watching this, get a mentor, find a mentee, and do that. But also, Women in HVACR offers scholarships. And that's something that it can be beneficial for women trying to get into the trades that maybe just can't figure out how to make that happen financially. And we offer that. And so, you know, all you have to do is go onto the website and fill out all of the documents, just follow the prompts, and, you know, we'll help you, walk you through that to be able to offer you guys scholarships. We are giving those out. The other thing too, we have Friday calls, which are fantastic. And some of those you can find online. There's an HVAC 101. If you go onto the website under, you know, I think it's membership and member benefits, click on that and you can watch the HVAC 101, and it gives you like, what's the difference between a distributor and, you know, a whole, yeah, just to go through the whole industry as a whole itself. It's really good. And it kind of just explains the industry itself, like not to forget those. And we also we've gone through so many different things, the refrigerant cycle, diversity and inclusion, how to brand yourself, all of those different things, which can be beneficial to anyone.
And let me also say that the scholarships, if you want a scholarship this year, June 1st is the deadline, and I sit on the scholarship committee. So we would love to have you. Do not be afraid of submitting for a scholarship. You have to be in school. And before you get your scholarships, we do need your transcripts. So don't think that you're going to get a scholarship and not be in school. You know, you don't have to be in school for technical. You can be in school to be, you know, in one of the office situations and office management and things along those lines. So technical, yes, office, yes, but you have to want a career in this industry. And we need to see your grades. Have to have at least a B average.
And the other thing I was going to throw in, all these things that we provide as an organization, every year we do an annual conference. And so this year it's going to be in Phoenix, November 2nd through the 4th. So all these things we've talked about, it is a way to bring everything together full circle. And then we have some amazing speakers. We're working through this right now. And it's just an opportunity to not only check out the industry, become a part of the industry, but it's very motivating to meet so many women that are successful in this industry, and we learn from each other. And they will leave with lifelong friendships that they made during this conference. And, 6 months later, they might call up someone that was sitting at their table that had the answer, and they've exchanged cards and information. And so I think that is a huge part of everything that we're trying to create as an organization. It all kind of comes together with an annual conference.
And men who come to conference too. It's not only for women. There are men who come to conference.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah, and I just wanted to send that out there because I've been to a lot of conferences, and the camaraderie at your event is amazing. You guys have given me the opportunity to present at your event. We attend, we exhibit, we participate. There is a very unique energy at this event. And when you go to a lot of conferences, there are a lot of egos, there are a lot of personalities, and it just really, really seemed like family. And you guys embraced me, you brought me in, and just the atmosphere, the event was awesome. And I've been there, I think, 3 years now, but this year will be 4. But it really is a good event. If you haven't been there, I definitely recommend that. But my next question kind of rolled into what we just said, because you spoke about your Friday meetings, you spoke about the scholarships and the mentorship and the ambassador program, you create videos. So it really looks like, in my opinion, that Women in HVACR has a significant pool of resources that contractors can use, that instructors can use, that women who are already in the industry can use as ongoing support. And you also have resources, it seems, for women who are looking to get into the industry. So it really looks like you have all of your bases covered. And Laurelyn mentioned visiting the website, but she didn't mention the website. So, the website is www.womeninhvacr.org. So my last question then really is, we've covered a lot. What Women in HVACR is as an organization, what you do, what people can do to get, what women can do to get into this industry, what to do if you're already here, what challenges you face, how to face them. We've kind of hit everything. I'm kind of like mind blown. But what information did we not discuss that you would really, really like someone to take away from this discussion? Something, if we haven't, if we covered everything, great. But what parting thought would you like people to take away from this?
So I will start. Unless you want, Laura, you want to start? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, we've covered so much, but the thing is, when you ask about all the different resources, if we don't have a resource, we have 12 phenomenal women that sit on the board. They will find a resource for you. And it is unbelievable the amount of connections and opportunities that these women can create. So I just wanted to throw that out there, because if it was a vocational school or someone and they couldn't find a resource, they need to either join the organization, get on our Facebook page, because a lot of times, and Women in HVACR Facebook, they will ask questions. I am a technician and I run into this problem. All of a sudden you've got 40 comments on people giving some advice and information. So that's the only thing I wanted to add. If you can't find a resource, we'll find it for you. We'll get it for you.
Very cool. Anybody else?
I would encourage parents who are watching this program, if they have daughters, even if they have sons, to talk about this industry is really, really, really good. Most of I know so many owners who say they'd never want their kids in this industry, which is insane. They don't have to be owners if they don't want to be owners, but they can make phenomenal techs. They can make phenomenal salespeople. They can work for distributors. They can work for manufacturers. You know, this is an industry that if you're a parent, at least talk to your kids about it.
That's awesome. And you know what? Somebody mentioned earlier about high school, and in some respects, I think approaching this topic and bringing this career to the forefront in high school might even be a little too late in some instances. When I started my program at a community college in New York, I put together and I hosted what I called my Tech Diva conference. And it was open. And I brought this up at the Women in HVACR conference last year. And it was open to 8th grade young women. And it was only for 8th grade young women who were getting ready to go into high school. We brought them into the college. They got to tour the facility. They got to see what the labs look like. We had people from industry talk about the industry and what it's all about, what it has to offer. Then they went into the labs. And this was kind of neat. They had to unroll 3/8-inch copper tubing. They had to cut a 4-inch piece of tubing. They had to ream the ends of the tube. They had to swedge one end. They had to flare the other end. Then they hammered down the swedged end till it was flat. Then they used a drill press to drill a hole through. Then I gave them key rings that they put through the hole. Then I gave them my business cards, which they proceeded to laminate and hole punch. Then they put my business card, my laminated business card, on the key ring. And they got to take this home and show mom and dad.
Wow.
That was the first year I ran my program. 4 years later, I had 4 young women entering my program. 3 of them brought their key rings to class the first day. And they said, I have been waiting 4 years to bring this to you. And one of those young ladies is the young lady I spoke to you about earlier.
Cool. Really cool.
And then she actually became a teacher at the program.
Oh,
So yeah, you know what? It's never too early to recruit into this industry. Whether and Lori mentioned whether you're a boy, whether you're a girl, you know, or whatever, it's really, really awesome. But
The one other thing, Eugene, that I did want to mention is that we are having a Texas regional event June 9th, and it's going to be from 6 to 9 in Tomball, Texas. You can also find that on the website. Eugene, thank you. Yes, www.womeninhvacr.org. You can go register. It's right on the homepage. There are limited spots, but we would love to have you come. So that is another thing. And I think one of my biggest takeaways is you know, for all those women out there, or for somebody entering the industry, or you've been in the industry a long time, you're not alone. We're a family. Just if there is a hurdle that you're overcoming, be persistent.
awesome.
You will overcome it.
yes, you will.
Laurelyn, Ruth, Lori, thank you so much for the great conversation. This was dynamite. Yeah, be sure to visit the website. We've said it 16 times now, but I mean, visit the website, learn all about women in HVACR, what they have to offer. You know, our industry needs it. Again, we shouldn't be concentrating on 50% of the population. But once again, thank you all for your time and have a great day.
My
Thanks,
pleasure.
Eugene.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Take
Appreciate
care.
it.
Talk
Bye.
soon. Bye, everyone.